Good morning, beautifuls. This week we have a lot of news to cover, so I'm going to be very quick. First, a beloved Thai BL pairing just imploded in the messiest corporate power grab we've seen all year. Meanwhile, a Filipino BL actor making shocking revelations about a decade of abuse that has the entire Southeast Asian industry questioning everything. Plus, the rumor mill is working overtime with unverified gossip about secret relationships and alleged government censorship that could be completely fabricated for clicks. But it's not all drama this week. We've also got historical period pieces, supernatural romances, goblin-kings, and a sports comedy about an all-gay volleyball team that's about to make your watch lists explode. Jumping into all that and much more on this week's BGL Weekly Update, I'm Shawn, and this is your deep dive into everything happening in BL and GLs across East and Southeast Asia. From the series you need to know about to the industry drama you can't ignore, let's get into it. Let's kick things off with some actually good news this week, because while we've been dealing with corporate drama and industry controversies, the content machine has been absolutely churning out announcements that are going to make your watch lists grow, to say the least. Starting off in Thailand, GMMTV just confirmed that their much anticipated historical BL, Memoir of Rati, is dropping June 20th on both their YouTube channel and Netflix. The series stars in and great as star-crossed lovers in 1915 Siam. But that's not all from Thailand, because we're also getting The Secret of Seer, which just released its first teaser this week. This supernatural romance is about a fortune teller and a skeptic. And if you were missing Max and Nat from their previous work, good news! They're back in Suntany, which is apparently a sequel that involves body-swapping romance. The trailer just dropped and it's premiering June 17th on iQIYI. On the GL side, Thailand is giving us Love You, Miss Cold, which premiered June 16th on YouTube. This is an indie production from Sapphic Love about a heartbroken introvert who swears off love until she's forced to live with a sunny, outgoing family friend for a month. As an introvert, I find that to be quite interesting. Moving over to Japan, we're getting the second season of I Became the Main Role of a BL drama, which is that meta comedy about BL actors who became lovers. The trailer's out, and it's streaming on Thalassa in Japan starting June 13th, with international viewers getting it on Gaga Ulala from June 19th onward. Japan also brings us Depth of Field, a high school BL adapted from Enjo's manga about two photography club classmates. It stars Koshu Hirano and Takuma Usa and premieres June 20th. And for GL fans, Ayaka is in love with Hiroko. The new trailer shows our office couple now living together and dealing with comedic misunderstandings. It's airing on I almost said MSNBC. It's airing on MBS's late night GL slot starting June 26th. South Korea is coming through with the story of Bi-hyung, which just had its script reading this week. This is a historical fantasy BL about a naive actor who becomes the lifeline for a weary goblin-king under the centuries-old curse. The cast includes Hwang Jae-wook, Lee Cha-min, Kang Chan-woo, and Nam Taek-jun. And it's slated for October 2025. Taiwan is coming in and bringing some unique concepts, as they tend to do. The Promise of the Soul just unveiled its first poster, and the plot is kinda wild. It's about a 59-year-old grandfather whose soul magically swaps into his grandson's young body, leading to college romance. It stars Kenji Fan and Martin Wong. There's also Secret Lover, adapted from a Japanese manga about two lifelong rivals competing for the same girl, who end up developing feelings for each other instead. Yet another classic enemies to lover setup. China is getting around their censorship issues by releasing content internationally. Revenged Love, adapted from Chai Jidan's novel Counterattack, is premiering June 16th on Gaga Ulala. It's an enemies to lovers story starring Jiyu and Tian Juning, and there are leak stills from Purple Street Red Dust, a period drama based on the eternal silence of mountain and rivers. That's expected late 2025, exclusively on overseas platforms. Moving down to the Philippines, they're bringing bringing sports content with Love at First Spike, premiering June 20th on I Want TFC. It's directed by Ivan Andrew Payawal from Game Boy's acclaim, and it follows a former basketball star who has to join his school's all-gay volleyball team to keep his scholarship. Gays who love volleyball. Who'da thunk? And in awards news, Filipino BL Haunted Hearts was crowned BL Series of the Year at the VP Choice Awards. Congratulations to that team. What I love about this week's announcements is the sheer variety. We've got historical pieces, contemporary romance, supernatural elements, workplace comedy, sports drama, and genuinely innovative concepts like the grandfather-grandson body swap story. The industry is really pushing creative boundaries while still giving fans the relationship dynamics that they love. But with all of these releases coming fast and furious, it does raise some question whether the market is getting a bit oversaturated. There's only so much time in the day to watch content and only so much money fans can spend on multiple streaming platforms. With that said, competition breeds innovation, and what we're seeing is producers really trying to find unique angles and fresh takes on familiar tropes, whether that's setting stories in different time periods, adding supernatural elements, or exploring different relationship dynamics. There's clearly an effort to stand out in an increasingly crowded field. For fans like myself, this is both exciting and a little overwhelming. Our watch lists are about to get seriously backlogged, as if they weren't already, but at least we'll have plenty of options to choose from. Speaking of keeping track of these releases, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Drama Llama, because honestly, after listing all those premiere dates, even I'm feeling overwhelmed trying to remember what's dropping when. You know that feeling when you hear about a new BL or GL series that sounds amazing? You make a mental note to watch it and then completely forget it exists until you see someone posting about it 3 episodes in? Yeah, well, Drama Llama's calendar feature is basically designed to save you from that exact situation. Drama Llama gives you a weekly schedule of exactly what's airing when, with specific dates, times, and direct links to where you can actually watch it. So instead of me saying Memoir of Rati drops June 20th and you having to remember to hunt down the Netflix link, Drama Llama just gives you everything in one place. Plus, you can rate what you've already watched, and that feeds into their recommendation system to suggest similar series you might like. So, if you loved a particular Enemies to Lovers BL, it'll point you towards other shows with similar vibes. And honestly, with the amount of content coming out across different platforms, having those direct links saves so much time. And the best part? It's completely free to you. Just go to dramallamas.com and start building your calendar. Your future self will thank you when you're not frantically trying to figure out which platform has which show and whether you missed the premiere. Seriously, go check it out. dramallamas.com. Because keeping track of your BL and GL content shouldn't feel like a full-time job. Let's get back into some significantly less fun news. Jumping right into what is honestly one of the messiest industry breakups we've seen in Thai BL this year, and trust me, that's saying something. The SmartBoom pairing from the hit series Top Form has officially imploded, and it's not because of creative differences or personal drama that we know of. It's because of good old-fashioned corporate greed and power plays that have left fans absolutely devastated. So here's what went down. Smart and Boom, you know them as the leads from Top Form, who had fans completely obsessed with their chemistry over the last few months, were riding high on the success of their series. We're talking about a show that was pulling in massive numbers, especially in China. And these two were doing joint promotions, fan service, the whole 9 yards, right up until the finale. Everything seemed perfect, right? Wrong. Behind the scenes, there was a corporate war brewing that would make a K-drama look tame. Smart's music label, Grand Ivory Records, we're going to call them GIR here for sake of time and my voice, had this co-management deal with WeTV and Tailai Entertainment for the Top Form project. But here's where it gets a little messy. After Top Form became a hit, GIR apparently looked at all the success and thought,
you know what? We want all this for ourselves.
So what did they do? They moved unilaterally to take over Smart's career completely. Just straight up said, we're handling everything now, thanks. This completely blindsided Tailai Entertainment, who manages Boom and had been running the Top Form project under their headliner Thailand unit. Now, if you're thinking this sounds familiar, you're not wrong. Fans have been comparing this to the 50/50 scandal in K-pop, where management disputes completely destroyed a rising group's success. And honestly, the comparison is pretty apt because what happened next was a complete disaster. On June 10th, Tailai and WeTV dropped what can only be described as the corporate equivalent of a diss track. They released this formal statement in Thai and in English, so nobody could miss it, basically saying, "We're done with Smart." They disputed GIR's claim that their partnership ended mutually and heavily implied that Smart's team had breached their agreements. But wait, there's more. Tailai made it clear that Top Form isn't dead. They're planning to continue the series, possibly recasting or just going forward with Boom alone. WeTV's CEO even confirmed they originally planned at least 3 seasons. So, essentially, they're saying, we don't need Smart, we'll make this work without him. I don't know how that's going to work out. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Meanwhile, GIR is scrambling. After episode 9 aired, they had issued their own notice saying they'd handle Smart's career exclusively, and they promised fans that Smart and Boom would continue their projects as a pair, despite the management changes. Obviously, that promise aged like milk in the sun. And can we talk about the fan reaction? Because honestly, this is where it gets really intense. Thai Twitter obviously exploded. Reddit was in shambles, and the fandom basically split into camps. Team Smart versus Team Boom. Though most fans were smart enough to blame the agencies rather than the actors themselves. But the real power move came from Chinese fans. Remember, Top Form is a WeTV original that's massive in China, and Chinese BL fans do not mess around. Within 24 hours, they organized a full boycott of GIR. We're talking coordinated efforts across Weibo and Twitter, fans pledging not to support any GIR content or merchandise, demanding joint clarifications from all parties. The pressure was so intense that GIR CEO started posting cryptic messages on her private Instagram. The thing that really gets me is that Chinese fans literally have the numbers and spending power to make or break these projects, and GIR apparently forgot that. As one industry observer put it, Chinese fans can cause significant damage to any entity of their choosing. And boy, did they. The social media detective work was next level too. Fans were tracking unfollows, noting deleted posts, analyzing Instagram stories. Smart went completely quiet on social media. Some Top Form promotional content mysteriously disappeared, and even the series director, Boss, posted this somber goodbye message about the show, despite his earlier excitement about multiple seasons. What's really heartbreaking, though, is how sudden this all was. Those guys were literally doing fan service and joint promotions right up until the end. Fans are saying things like, how can this happen so suddenly? They were promoting together just days ago. It's like watching a relationship implode in real time, except it's not about the people, it's about the corporations pulling the strings, unfortunately. And here's what makes this even worse. There was apparently a legal notice issued by WeTV back in May warning GIR and Smart about breaching their 5-year exclusive contract. So this wasn't a surprise. This was a corporate power grab that had been building for months while fans and even the actors were kept in the dark. I get it that business is business, but when you have a successful project, happy fans and actors who are clearly working well together, maybe you just don't go blow it all up because you want a bigger piece of the pie. It's just a thought. The bigger question now is what this means for the Thai BL industry. International viewers are worried that this kind of public drama hurts the industry's image overall, and honestly, they're not wrong. Fandom goodwill is incredibly fragile, and once it's broken, it's really hard to rebuild. As for what happens next, well, we'll have to wait and see. Smart's career is now entirely in GIR's hands. Boom is presumably continuing with Tailai, and Top Form might continue without its original lead. It's a mess. And frankly, everyone loses except maybe the lawyers who get paid based off of the cases? As always, I would love to hear your thoughts on the whole situation. Do you think GIR made the right business move, or did they just kill the golden goose? And what do you think this means for the future of BL pairings when corporate interests clash? Let me know in the comments below. While we were dealing with the very real, very documented corporate drama of SmartBoom, the BL rumor mill was also working overtime this week. And look, I want to be upfront about this segment. We're talking about unverified gossip here, the kind of stuff that could absolutely be made up for clicks and engagement. But it's worth addressing because it shows how speculation culture works in BL fandom. And honestly, some of these rumors reveal bigger issues about the industry. First up, we've got this juicy piece of gossip that's been making the rounds on Thai forums and Instagram gossip pages. There's this post from a BL fan's account talking about an unnamed, quote, Prince Charming from northern Thailand. They've literally used that nickname. It's not me making that up. But they're allegedly connected to some wealthy, influential figure. The implication being thrown around is that there's some kind of secret relationship or financial arrangement between this BL actor and the millionaire. Before anyone gets too excited, let's again be very crystal clear here. This is completely unverified. No names were given, no proof was provided, and there's a very real possibility this entire story was fabricated by someone looking to just boost their follower count or get more engagement on their posts. It's the kind of vague, salacious gossip that spreads like wildfire precisely because it's vague enough that fans can project whatever they want onto it. But here's where it gets interesting. Fans immediately started playing detective, trying to figure out which actor fits the Prince Charming from the North description. Twitter and Pantit forums were full of heated debates with people throwing around names and connecting dots that may or may not actually exist. This is where it gets concerning, because what this really highlights is the culture of speculation that exists in the BL fandom. Fans can be incredibly quick to connect dots about their idols' personal lives, sometimes creating entire narratives out of thin air. It also touches on some legitimate concerns about power imbalances in the industry. The idea that young actors might be dependent on wealthy sponsors or benefactors is unfortunately not that far-fetched in the entertainment industry at large. All you have to do is look at P. Diddy. But again, I cannot stress this enough. This particular story has zero verification. The smarter fans in the community were urging caution, pointing out that these kinds of stories can be easily fabricated and spread for all the wrong reasons. And they're right. But moving on to the Chinese BL scene, we've got renewed speculation about something that's been widespread for many years at this point, probably since about 2019. Fans are once again circulating theories that certain famous Chinese BL co-stars are essentially banned from appearing together, publicly. The biggest example that keeps coming up is Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo from The Untamed. The theory goes something like this. These two actors supposedly can't publicly interact because of the frenzy their pairing caused was too much for authorities to handle. Fans point to the fact that they have never attended the same events, have zero online interactions, and seem to actively avoid each other in public. The speculation is that there's some kind of mandated separation happening behind the scenes. Is this true? Well, we don't actually know. Could it be true given China's increasingly strict censorship policies around LGBTQ+ content? Unfortunately, yes. It is absolutely possible. But could it also just be that these are two working actors who moved on to other projects and don't need to maintain their on-screen chemistry off-screen? Also, yes. Look, the thing is, this isn't new speculation. Fans have been discussing this for years, but it got renewed attention this week partly because of ongoing discussions about Weibo's LGBTQ+ content crackdowns. It highlights this really difficult reality for not only Chinese BL fans, but also LGBTQ+ people living in China. There's always this layer of political and censorship pressure that adds tension to everything. Here's what bothers me about all the speculation, though. While the Chinese censorship concerns are based on very real policy changes we can document, a lot of the specific claims about individual actors are still just that, speculation. And when we're dealing with people's careers and reputations, we do need to be really careful about what we're amplifying. The difference between Thai gossip and the Chinese speculation is interesting, though. In Thailand, we're seeing rumors about personal relationships and financial arrangements, typical entertainment industry gossip. But in China, the speculation is more about political restrictions and censorship, which reflects the very different environments these actors are working in. But in both cases, we're dealing with unverified information that could easily be wrong, exaggerated, or completely fabricated. And that's something we need to keep in our mind as consumers of the content. Look, I get it. BL fans are passionate. And when there's drama happening, real or imagined, we want the tea. But we also need to be smart about this. Some of these gossip accounts are absolutely just trying to build their follower accounts by dropping vague, tantalizing hints that get people talking. They're not journalists, they're not bound by any ethical standards, and they definitely don't have to fact check anything. Most of them are just faceless profiles. So while it's natural to be curious about what's happening behind the scenes with our favorite actors, let's try to stick to the facts when possible. And take everything else with a massive grain of salt, because at the end of the day, spreading unverified rumors doesn't help anyone. Not the actors, not the industry, and definitely not the fans who might get worked up over stories that aren't even true. The SmartBoom situation shows us what real industry drama looks like. Official statements, corporate disputes, documented conflicts. That's the stuff we can actually analyze and discuss meaningfully. The rest, it's entertaining gossip at best and potentially harmful speculation at worst. Now for this segment, I need to shift gears here, and because what I'm about to discuss with you is incredibly serious and deals with some very heavy subject matters. If you're not in the right headspace for discussions about sexual assault and abuse, potential suicidality, I completely understand if you just need to skip this segment. Now's your chance. On June 10th, Filipino BL actor Miko Gallardo, known for series like My Day and My Story, posted what he called his, quote, final message on YouTube. This wasn't clickbait. This wasn't drama for views. This was an 8-minute video where Miko, speaking as his real self, Dwayne, made the incredibly difficult decision to publicly share the trauma and abuse he suffered for over a decade. This came after what can only be described as a terrifying few days for anyone who follows Miko. On June 4th, he had posted some deeply distressing Instagram stories saying things like, "Fuck this life, time to end," before completely wiping his Instagram clean. Fans were genuinely scared for his safety, fearing the worst case scenario. What Miko revealed in that YouTube video was heartbreaking and infuriating in equal measure. He disclosed that he has been a victim of sexual assault, grooming, and blackmail since he was a child. We're talking about abuse that started when he was only 8 years old, by people he trusted. He described being nearly assaulted by older men and being coerced into sexual relationships with a much older woman when he was only 10. And it didn't stop when he entered the entertainment industry either. According to Miko's account, powerful figures in the industry sexually assaulted him multiple times when he was starting his career. All of this trauma was then weaponized against him, used to blackmail and threaten him into silence for years. In the video, Miko explained he was simply tired and wants things to end, and that making this public was his final attempt to free himself from this cycle of torment that had trapped him for so long. These are obviously very serious criminal allegations that Miko has courageously brought forward. This isn't industry gossip or speculation. This is a young man finding the strength to speak truth to power about systematic abuse. The response has been significant too. Filipino media outlets like PEP.ph and Manila Standard verified and reported on Miko's claims. His former production company announced they would investigate the alleged abuse. The BL community, both in the Philippines and internationally, has rallied around Miko with an outpouring of support, applauding his courage to speak out. His name even trended on Twitter in the Philippines with hashtags calling for justice and accountability. And honestly, that support is crucial because coming forward about abuse, especially when it involves powerful people in the industry, takes incredible courage. But this also forces us as fans to confront some very uncomfortable realities about the entertainment industry, particularly in the rapid growing BL scene across Southeast Asia. When an industry explodes in popularity as quickly as BL has, there can be a rush to capitalize on that success without putting proper protections in place for the actors, especially young actors who might not have the experience or support systems to navigate potentially exploitative situations. This isn't unique to BL or even to the Philippines. We've seen similar patterns across entertainment industries worldwide, where young performers are vulnerable to predators who use their power and influence to exploit and silence their victims. What makes Miko's situation particularly heartbreaking is the systematic nature of it. Childhood abuse that continued into his professional life, with the trauma being used as a tool of control and manipulation. That's a level of calculated cruelty that's difficult to comprehend sometimes. The conversations that have emerged from Miko's revelations are tough, but they're necessary. We're talking about how to better protect actors, how to create safer working environments, how to hold abusers accountable, and how to support survivors when they find the courage to speak out. This is a stark reminder that behind all the fan service, the shipping, the glamour of all these productions, there are real people, often young people, whose safety and well-being should be the absolute top priority. No amount of entertainment success is worth putting performers at risk. For fans like myself, this should be a wake-up call about the importance of supporting not just the content we love, but the people who create it. That means advocating for better industry protections, supporting actors who speak out about abuse, and holding production companies and agencies accountable for creating safer environments. I want to point out here that if you or someone you know has experienced sexual assault or abuse, please know that there are resources available. Organizations like RAIN, 1-800-656-HOPE, provide confidential support. And if you're in the Philippines, there are local organizations that can help as well. Look, this is heavy stuff, and I want to acknowledge that with you. But these conversations matter, and Miko's bravery in sharing his story deserves our attention and our respect. And that, my friends, is everything you need to know about this week in BL and GL. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the content, please hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to stay in the loop on all the industry drama, series announcements, and hot takes you can handle. I genuinely love hearing your perspectives on these stories, especially when we're dealing with complex issues like industry exploitation and corporate power plays. Your comments often bring up angles I hadn't considered, so seriously, don't be shy to share your thoughts in the comments. Remember, I'll see you next week because we've got a brand new episode covering all the BL and GL news you need to know. And trust me, with the way the industry moves, there's always something happening that's going to surprise you. Until then, keep watching these series, support the actors and creators doing this work, and remember to be kind to each other in the comments. Love you all. See you next week.